potato wedges.
Jason Moss has challenged the roughing the passer penalty on Marcus Howard.
Like Marcus Howard, to me, and all the looks I've seen in commercial now, turned his head to get it out of the initial contact zone here. Watch how he turns his head to the left and avoids the helmet-to-helmet contact in the ear hole of Matt Nichols as he's trying to duck that hit. This may be the best look. He's coming right at you. Now watch how he turns his head to the right and does not make contact with the helmet.
Fully on the right shoulder.
Marcus Howard's helmet hits the shoulder of Matt Nichols.
Would be his second sack of the year. Hasn't had one since week 1. And Eskimos looking for more pressure up front. So they've got to discuss a couple of different play calls.
After review, there is no. Be second down on the 23-yard line.
So they get it right, which is the whole point of these challenges.
And, I don't think Matt Nichols was actually looking for a penalty. He was looking at his right tackle, Jamarcus Hardrick, going, what happened? Why was 91 free off the edge like that?
Boy, he got the full brunt, didn't he? Just like Mike Riley did last week on a hit from John Chick. Well, instead of first and goal, second and 18. Back at the 23. And they'll call draw. Andrew Harris. And he'll get wrapped up and tossed down by Dion Lacey with help from Koshi Mwamba.
Second sack for Marcus Howard. It's a Winnipeg field goal team, a play later on the field. And, that's an example, Chris, with a player safety emphasis that have been going on that the players defensively are now starting to figure it out. Because Marcus Howard deliberately moved his helmet out of the contact area to avoid the penalty.
That one replay did show those eyes get pretty wide. What did he do? He had a clear path to the quarterback. So Medlock, 30-yard attempt is good. And it's a double-digit lead for the Bombers here. Just over 10 minutes in. Mike Riley's got some work to do. Trying to kickstart the Edmonton Eskimo high-powered offense. Returns tomorrow. Rough Riders take on the Alouettes. It's been Cahoon night in Montreal. All the festivities begin 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific across the TSN network and in 4K. Mike Riley's only had 2 plays here in this first quarter.
Hard to get to 300 yards passing with just a couple of plays in a quarter, so he's got to stay on the field, keep that offense out there. But 7 straight 300-yard plus games for Mike Riley, closing in on CFL record.
Over 70% in all 4 starts this season. Over 350 yards in all 4.
I was going to say, he leads the league in passing yards, and there's 3 teams that have played 1 more game.
Here comes pressure. Riley dumps it off. John White up near the 45. And he'll be just short of the first down.
Nice block in the open field by Corey Watson. He comes back and helps out his running back. White starts out in the backfield. He's just going to slip out here, and Riley finds him as the pocket starts to collapse. You see him beside him.
Flag down as they push the pile for what would be a first down. Did the Bombers give a yard? Offside against Winnipeg.
Winnipeg, number 94. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Defensive tackle, Euclid Cummings. So the initial Eskimo first down up at the Edmonton 50. High shotgun from Rotier. And here's Bowman. Picks his way into Bomber territory and down to the 43-yard line. At least 9 catches in 3 of the 4 games and 100 yards receiving in all 4.
On a record pace, 100 yards, over 100 yards in every game this season. Only one other player has done that to start the year, way back in 1989. But when will Darius Bowman make that big play over the top? He does it every game.
Kind of got away from Bowman in the late stages of that Hamilton game. Jason Moss mentioned yesterday, a couple of times his number was called, the ball didn't get there. Riley going deep here for him, and incomplete. Step for step, the newcomer on the corner, Terrence Frederick, out of Texas A&M and Katy, Texas.
And then back to the post for Darius Bowman. He's that outside receiver. You're right, working on the corner. And for a rookie getting his first start, this is great composure as the ball arrives. No interference call. Doesn't mess with Darius Bowman. That ball was too far.
Got some starts with the New Orleans Saints. Number 35, Frederick. Out of the lineup, Macho Harris, Julian Posey, Chris Randall, all injured. Here's Riley, and he gets dragged down from behind. Shayon Green makes sure he doesn't get away, and it will be 3rd down.
Green missed last week in that defensive line. He's back in the lineup, 24-year-old out of Miami, and Jamal Westerman, the guy up front who leads the team in sacks with 2. Maurice Leggett leads in interceptions with a couple. And as I mentioned in the secondary, Bruce Johnson back. They've got a couple of young guys. Taylor Loeffler at safety, Terrence Frederick we just talked about in their first starts.
Control. So Grant Shaw gets set to punt. There's some lightning in the area. Boy, they get the rush on. Shaw got it away, and he'll kick it out of bounds. No return inside the 15-yard line. 34-yard kick. Let's go down to the sidelines. Here's Dustin Nielsen.
Yeah, starting to rain a little bit down here now, starting to come down pretty good. For Matt Nichols, a return to Edmonton means yet another meal with a former teammate. 2 weeks ago in Winnipeg, he went out for dinner with Mike Riley. Last night here in Edmonton, he went out with J.C. Sherritt, a longtime friend, and I had to push him for a little inside information, but he did say that Mike Riley is the better tipper of the two, while J.C. Sherritt is the guy who cleans up all the leftovers at the table.
First down, Winnipeg.
Hey, Dustin Suits is impressed. There's no umbrellas in football.
Yeah, way to go. That's Edmonton tough right there.
The game will be delayed due to weather.
And now
lightning in the area.
There is lightning in the area, and they are going to suspend play here.
Never stops due to rain, but it will stop due to lightning. And
yeah, we've seen a little bit just beyond the stadium here, and again, it was a real heavy thunderstorm here yesterday, and more were in the forecast. And
studio guys have to stop crushing food and get back to the desk.
Buffet time has been suspended as well. So the teams will head to the locker rooms. An impressive opening quarter, at least an impressive start for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They'd like to keep playing here. Right now, though, we're going to have a timeout on the field, and we'll check in with Rod and the boys.
Thank you, CC. Suits.
Don't they know that
all the food off the table?
They bring the food. We don't go line up at the buffet. Don't they know that we sit right here and we get served?
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Oh yeah. In a perfect world, that's how it would work, wouldn't it?
It's so wrong because it's not even remotely close to the truth.
Hey, this is about Suits and CC right now. Forget about the audience, okay? We want them to think that we have it all. Up in here.
Rod Smith, Jock Climbing, Matt Dunnigan back here. This is old hat for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I don't know if you guys remember. It was week 1 against Montreal. Lightning delay. That was over an hour. The Bombers are back in the dressing room now. They're going to do all this again. And they have some good momentum going after the Eskimos in both of their possessions punting. I mean, just thoughts on the way things have started so far. I think number of plays from scrimmage for Winnipeg, 20, and it's 7 for Edmonton. They've controlled the football very well.
Where's the defense?
Yeah.
You know, and Mike Benavides, I know he's pulling his hair out. You know, but Benny had so many great defenses in BC for all those years, and he comes to Edmonton, which had arguably the top defense last year. He's probably figuring he's strolling into a situation where he can go back to being dominant in that facet of the game. And I've talked to Benny, and I know that this is a question of having lost too many starters, 4 or 5 starters out of the lineup last year, 3 of them all-stars, and having to replace them with young guys.
Yeah, I'm not. Spilt milk, you know. It's like cry me a river, you know.
It's still
this
a reality.
is professional football, and you got to find players to step in and step up. And that's 42 unanswered points going back to what Hamilton did to him last week, plus 11 here. It's becoming the question right now for the Edmonton Eskimos. And but I'm gonna flip it, and I'm gonna tell you, it's the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and you ask any offensive coordinator. Success in 1st and 10 is critical, and they've had really good success in 1st and 10. You heard CC talk about Andrew Harris running the football successfully with runs of 6, 7, and 9 yards on 1st and 10. It puts you in second and manageables, which is a lot easier on offense. And, you know, I'll get back into it a little later, but, you know, I talked about having Quincy McDuffie on the football field.
That's the point you've been making, actually, for a couple of weeks now.
I've been preaching it all season long because I don't think they did enough in that huddle. And, you know, they did great things by signing Ryan Smith, Andrew Harris, and Weston Dressler, and on that offensive side of the football. I think that's a big step forward. But I don't think they found that vertical stretch guy. I think Darvin Adams is certainly a gifted receiver, but he needs help. And by having 14 Quincy McDuffie on the football field opposite a Darvin in this ball game, I'm going to show you a little later on how that's affected the defense and opened up some things underneath already.
Even if he's not catching a football, you're talking just the threat because of his speed.
Taking the top off the defense, respecting that man's speed, opens up Darvin and those other guys on the other side of the football and underneath. So,
well, you better be able to catch. Otherwise, teams are just going to start letting him run through the top of the defense. I mean, he's still going to prove that.
I don't care if he drops the ball 50% of the time. If he catches it 50% of the time, those 5 out of 10 are touchdowns.
For anyone who had any doubts about his speed, I mean, that return of his showed you the kind of speed
explosive.
that kid
I
has.
saw it when he first played for the Hamilton Tiger Cats several years ago. And they were so stockpiled with receivers and returners over there.
Lineup,
It was ridiculous. And he's just got speed to burn, and that'll help out any offense.
We're at 2:11 to go, I believe, on the clock here. A couple of minutes to go until the end of the first quarter, and they have delayed the game because of lightning coming in. Any of you guys care to illustrate this? Because I have no idea what I'm looking at. But this is the Doppler radar.
I've never understood this.
I'm accustomed to seeing this in Texas all the time, right?
Well, then break it down for us, weatherman.
Well, it's
there you go.
Now. Yeah, it's wet. And it couldn't happen in a worse time for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers because, like you mentioned, Rod, momentum was huge in their favor, and they needed some of that. And you build off of that. We saw what momentum did for Hamilton last week against Edmonton. They built that up in the first quarter. And for this rain and delay, it couldn't have been worse timing for those Bombers.
Yeah, Matt Nichols, 8 for 9. I mean, he looks comfortable, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, 1st and 10 success, running the football, controlling the line of scrimmage, and one-on-one opportunity with Dressel on a corner, taking the top out of the defense, throwing underneath, letting those guys run. It's all working out for him, and I think it's one addition. Not so much the quarterback, but Quincy McDuffie on the football field.
I know you're a big McDuffie fan, but I mean,
no, it's just
I get it.
Just a vertical guy, speed guy.
But you still got to distribute the football. This is a guy who has not had a great win-loss record. We talked about it at the outset, and he's got a lot to prove. And I thought it was interesting. 7-12 as a starter is Nichols, and in his career. And I thought it was interesting. Mike O'Shea in that interview we showed in the pregame. And we had lots of debate about why. Why is this move being made? And O'Shea gave us a little bit of an insight into it, saying he's playing against his former team, meaning he's going to be a little upset about being run out of town. And, you know, he's a guy who's hungry. And actually, in Kate's section, segment, need to know how many opportunities has this guy had to prove himself to be a starter, hasn't done it. O'Shea knows that if anybody is going to go out there and play hungry in this situation in Edmonton on the road, it's this kid.
Yeah, he's had a tough go of it. But you don't have to look around to see that story happening all the time at a bunch of positions on every team. You guys getting second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth chances. You know, just go to Montreal. Kevin Glenn, quarterback there, just finding ways to redirect his football career. Matt Nichols looking to do the same thing for the Bombers and get them back in the winning row. Get back home against Hamilton next week with the win. It'd be huge for this football team moving forward.
Bottom line was it was not working with Drew Willie, so they figure why not make the change now. Obviously, it's very early. It's late in the first quarter, but the Bombers' offense has been looking good. On a couple of possessions, they have an 11-0 lead, and this is why they're not playing right now. Well, it's more than just the rain. It's the lightning in the skies as well. Very threatening, ominous there above Commonwealth. And so we'll get back, obviously, when they get back to the game. We'll have more here on Thursday Night Football, presented by The Brick on TSN.
All day, baby. They can't stop us.
Friday night, the spotlight shines on the CFL's big play threats.
That was ridiculous.
As the Riders and Owls air it out in Montreal.
Oh, you did not do that.
And the Lions and Stamps fight for first in the West.
The Rain Man does it.
Friday Night Football doubleheader on TSN. The CFL lives here.
Opening drive, make it 6 for 6 and a touchdown to Darius Bowman. The Edmonton Eskimos are making a statement.
I promise you, bro, we're going to start it off.
Play action fake, looking in the end zone. Touchdown. Ventus, touchdown. A response from the Ticat offense.
Let's go.
Back to the end zone. He's got it. What a catch. And he just kicked the Ticats into the lead. One of the great comebacks you will ever see.
We are in a weather delay in Edmonton. It is late in the first quarter, and the Eskimos trailed the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 11-0. Good momentum by Winnipeg. And those highlights you just saw were from last Saturday when the Eskimos had a huge lead, 25 points, and they wound up losing to the Hamilton Tiger Cats. As Matt Dunnigan pointed out, if you add the 11 tonight, that is 42 unanswered points against the Edmonton Eskimos. I mean, they still look like they're struggling early in this game. Can a collapse like that have that kind of residual effect that it's tough to overcome?
I think this defense is trying to overcome all sorts of things, not just that collapse. There's no question that can be demoralizing.
The latest debacle.
Yeah, exactly. But you're feeding into, look, in football, it's all about game study, right? People don't realize this about the game of football. It's not like other sports. In football, after every game, after every practice, you're going into a room, and every step you take, every decision you make on the football field is analyzed, it's played, it's reversed, it's played, it's reversed, and it's pointed out. You have to live with that all week, every week. So it's not just that collapse. Each individual player is thinking about all the mistakes he made. And you got so many young guys in there, so many rookies, so many new starters in that defense. They're all questioning themselves. And now what you get is the veterans who start thinking, I got to compensate for the rookie side of me who's not doing his job. And now he starts doing things he's not supposed to. Now he's getting called out in film. This is how this snowballs. This is how a defense actually unravels. And that's what Benavides' job is to get them together so that doesn't happen.
Let me give you another angle, something to chew on here, and what's in play is you got a new staff there coming together. And defense has been struggling, giving up 35 points on average per ball game. And so it's one of those situations now, guys, where offensively last week, after they scored early in the third quarter on their first possession to go up 31-6, they started calling a passive game. Offensive coordinator Jason Moss, understanding how to work with Mike Benavides defensively and playing off each other, they weren't in sync. Both of them went passive. Both of them got nothing going. Hamilton controlled that football in the second half, and it was a perfect storm for the Ticats, and they blow away some serious momentum and put more doubt in the Edmonton Eskimos, trying to overcome not only as players understanding one another, but coaches as well.
When will coaches learn? We can sit here and rhyme off example after example of teams that have got passive and get burned for it.
Right.
Stay aggressive, coaches, and you have a much better chance of winning the football game.
Well, you talked about the perfect storm, too. I don't know if it's too perfect for Winnipeg right now because the Bombers were rolling, had momentum, but the storm that is interrupting this game right now. Late in the first quarter, it is delayed with Winnipeg leading at 11-0. Let's head back to Commonwealth now and rejoin Chris Cuthbert and Glenn Suter.
Yes, Rod, the rain continues to fall here at Commonwealth. Looks like the worst of the storm cell has moved on. Have not seen any lightning in the vicinity in the last few minutes. We're being told that in just under 15 minutes or so, the players will come out. They'll get a brief warm-up period. and then we'll get back somewhere within 20 minutes. And the Bombers anxious to get back, and any question about Matt Nichols being the starter was answered pretty quickly.
I know, Chris, and there's been a lot of discussion about this. You and I have done a couple of games in Winnipeg, and after those games, we've driven back and listened to the call-in shows, and there is absolutely zero patience left with the fan base for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And as I said off the top, I really thought that Michael O'Shea had to mix it up. He had to try something different. Matt Nichols is not a raw rookie, and there's been many cases where two quarterbacks systems can work in the Canadian Football League. And to be quite honest, and I'd like to get Matt's opinion on this, I think sometimes coaches are too soft on quarterbacks. If your starting pitcher is not got his stuff, go to the reliever. And especially if you've got a veteran reliever in Matt Nichols, and that's what they've done.
Not sure if all the head coaches that call in on those radio shows had much input, but Mike O'Shea did tell us that the decision to go with Nichols was a multifaceted one.
You know, you're dealing with 60 guys or the team and trying to get them in the right position, and you're also dealing with the human element. So professionally, it's, you know, you make that decision and that you come to that conclusion with some good analysis. And then on the personal level, it's always tough because you gotta, you know, you have to keep on rallying behind Drew and make sure he's ready to go again, which he will be. He's a professional. So it's a decision that we made, and I know Matt's raring to go.
Yeah, was he ever raring to go? It was pretty clear from the way he started tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. A great start for him. That first drive all the way down the field, capped off by a run by Andrew Harris, a touchdown to start it out for Matt Nichols. And you could see that spark. The offensive line got off the ball better than they had in previous weeks. I agree with the coach. Drew Willie's going to be fine. He's a starter. He's a pro. He had a good week of practice, and he's supporting Matt Nichols, a guy that he said during the week that he really likes, that you have to cheer for. What fans have to remember is that it's been a tough go for Matt Nichols throughout his career. In 2013, he was neck and neck with Mike Riley for the starting job here in Edmonton. Didn't get it when he hurt his leg. Then he gets hurt and again misses another season due to injury the next year. It's been a long haul for him. He gets an opportunity now, and you can see that spark is there. I don't think Michael O'Shea had a choice. He had to make a change, and we'll see if they can grab that momentum back after this break.
Yeah, didn't have a choice on this rain delay. Clearly he didn't want it. The Bombers have had the ball for over 10 minutes. We've still got a minute and a half remaining in the first quarter. We're getting a little bit closer to the teams returning to the field. They'll get that short warm-up and then go back to work here with the score 11-0 Winnipeg. Let's go back to the guys and the spoiled quarterback.
Well, don't be soft on the quarterbacks. They're okay. They'll be fine, right, Matt?
Back to you, Rod.
Thank you, Chris. Well, let's throw it right over to Matt. What Glenn's talking about it, because I know you didn't think this QB change was fair. Do you agree with what Suits is getting at here?
I think quarterbacks should be handled just like any other player on the football team. Expectations, accountability. Certainly, he's accountable for everything on the football field. And so there's more pressures innately there. But I think it's been a perfect storm. You talk about the weather. You talk about how Edmonton's playing defensively and how they've taken this, kind of carry this momentum in and passive, and they're getting taken to them. I think it's a perfect storm. Matt Nichols coming back, the competitive nature, him fighting back, guys wanting him to do well, the team desperate in a situation, and also the addition of Quincy McDuffie. I'll get back to that because
he loves this guy. I think it's his agent.
It could be any other fast guy, but he's been there all training camp, and they're utilizing him today in the offense. It's not by happenstance that this is taking place. This is taking place because of it. And a lot of things are coming together right for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and they needed to. They really needed to, and they needed to get that other guy in the field to open up everybody else.